I'll provide a little bit of context. I've been playing this game since like 2017,
Yeah.
2018. I want to say like season 14 or 15 of Overwatch 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I started in bronze back then, naturally. I
Mm-hmm.
hadn't played PC since my teenage years when I played Counter-Strike, like
Yep.
1.3 and then Condition Zero.
Yeah.
So I've been gaming for a long, long time, but then I took a very long hiatus for about a decade. Anyway, so I kind of started climbing. I was very deep into the weeds on improvement back in Overwatch 1 days,
Mm-hmm.
and I tracked my rank, tracked my SR, ended up peaking diamond back then. Excuse me. And
No problem.
since then, I just kind of played for fun, and I really, really enjoy competitive just for fun.
Yeah.
But I also get frustrated whenever I'm losing, naturally. So nowadays, it's tapered off as far as like time to play because I can't commit like 7 or 8 hours a day or whatever like that on the weekends to play because of child work, et cetera,
Yeah.
et cetera.
Of course.
But I've been thinking about coaching or getting coaching just generally on and off for like the last year and a half just to see what I can improve because I've plateaued and I've been in Diamond for probably going on, I mean, shoot, 5 years, 6 years now, and just
Yep.
playing generally. So I decided to just book some coaching, somewhat on a whim, and
Sure.
my wife and my brother-in-law, who I duo with, they just said, "Yeah, go for it. That'd be kind of cool, especially to watch it on YouTube." So
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
here
Sure.
we
Sure.
are. I figured
Yeah. I'll
I'd
make
just
sure
at
to be as
least give it a shot.
disrespectful as I can, just to make it, comedy.
Absolutely, and there
Okay.
might be VODs with them in it. So
Oh, I'll make sure that there's some collateral damage as well. I'll make sure.
be
Okay.
nice to the wife, okay?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got you. I got you. Okay. Break through the low diamond plateau. How to self-evaluate mid-game and during VOD reviews. Okay. So I'm just gonna quickly kind of bullet through these. If there's anything you want elaborated on more, just let me
Absolutely.
know. First things first. VOD reviews, how to self-evaluate. We'll talk about that briefly. The TLDR is that you basically go into the game with something that you're already looking at. So you're not going to go in just looking for habits and things that you can correct because that's something that only a trained professional can do. And I'm only being half ironic because it's really challenging to kind of track all the variables, all the things that you could be doing better at the same time. But what you can do is you can go, I'm going to go in and look at Freya, right? What are my ults looking like? And just look at every single ult that you use in the game and kind of evaluate where you're at ult-wise. You can look at every single angle. Where was I here? Where was it there? Where was it? And only your angles, not your mechanics, not your shots, not your ults, maybe not even your dash management, right? Just your general starting position and evaluate that, right? And that's all you look at. So when you're starting with self-VOD review, and really I think even as you finish, is you really should just be fixating on one particular skill and really be asking, how am I doing? What could I be doing better? What about this? What about that? Right? And so that you give yourself something a little bit more channel, a little bit more focused, because if you start too broad, there's just too many different random unconnected ideas that may come together with not something that you can like actually do in your next game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, I mean, we're not going to be doing that today. We're going to be kind of cornucopying everything, right? So that we have a lot of different things to work on. But if you ever VOD review yourself, don't do that. Fixate on one thing, look at only that one thing, and don't VOD review for more than 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay, and I do have trouble kind of, somewhat ADDing about it and just looking at multiple different things because I'll see multiple mistakes, of course.
Yeah, exactly. And see that it's really easy to look at like, okay,
Yeah.
I messed up here, I missed these shots, I cost us this fight, or this last fight, I should have taken that angle instead. And like you just start popcorning it. You're like, what you're doing is you're writing a documentary, right? And you don't want a documentary because no one game is important enough to write a documentary about. You know what I'm saying? It's more about overarching habits that are going to carry over into the next game here. And that kind of actually leads me into my next point is how to self-evaluate mid-game. Don't even try. You shouldn't.
Really?
Whenever you,
I
again,
all
it's
the
like
time.
you're like an NFL coach, like trying to make some sort of a live time adjustment. Don't do that. Just play. Just practice whatever you're supposed to be practicing. Like I've had students. So I just had a student yesterday. So I was doing some live coaching yesterday, and we were working on, I don't remember, it was something mechanical that they were needed to practice. And so we just were practicing that skill over and over and over again. Well, they were getting full held. And I knew that to break the choke, they were going to need to worry about their off angling and come up with some creative angle. But that's not what we were there to practice. So I sat there and I let them throw the game because that's what they needed to practice. Is that they needed to practice. Now you could go, oh well, shouldn't that mean that they also needed to work on their angling? Yeah, absolutely. But you can't work on angling every single game that you ever play. You got to work on your mechanics too, right? So you might look back at a game and evaluate, oh, I needed an off angle more, but that's not what you were there to do. And like, if you want to be a better player, if you want to be finally a Masters player, you're gonna have to do your homework on a lot of things, right? And so that means, for lack of a better term, it's that deep work, right? That just allows you to really, really grind on that specific one thing. And you can only really do that in ranked, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I understand what you mean as far as like kind of the mentality, and I guess if I can rephrase it, for me the end of the game, right, is what I want to see, the victory screen, no matter the cost. And so I get defaulted in my brain. I default to like, I need to make a play, I need to carry, I need to do something, I need to go jump on their support, even at my own detriment, and not realizing that, hey, I just need to be focusing on a specific whatever I'm practicing, or whatever I'm trying to do.
I get that. It's fun to win, it's fun to win. But the problem is that like, even if you win more, you're going to be putting yourself in Masters, and then you're going to be losing more because you're playing versus players. Like it doesn't matter how good you are at Overwatch, you're going to lose a certain percentage of your games, right? And ironically, it's like you get to higher levels, and of course, the way the bell curve works is you do win more if you're going to hold Grandmaster than you lose, right? But not by much. Like 5% more, right?
So it's like 55, 45 or something.
Right. So you're basically going to end up having the same win-loss record approximately, even though you're significantly better. That's just the nature of skill-based matchmaking. So like, you're kind of, the way that you're describing what you want to be in terms of the player is just, to be honest, fantasy. I've had gold players come to me and be like, I want to feel like I'm contributing a lot, I'm carrying every game that I'm in, and I'm like, that is complete nonsense. It's literally impossible, right?
I think
that's a Call of Duty mindset. That's a Call of Duty mindset. You remember back before skill-based matchmaking, you'd see one of those streamers on YouTube back in 2011, 2010, and they'd go 36-4 every lobby they were in, like that. But that's just because you're beating up on 9-to-5ers, like that's just not realistic for the average person, so.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And, to some degree, I think there's, I don't know if I read it or heard it. I mean, it's been probably years at this point, but it's like some of the most productive games in Overwatch are the ones where it's just boring, You just kind of keep doing your job.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and the reason why the skill-based matchmaking is a thing, the reason why people have done that is because they find it keeps people engaged longer. And it's because we like challenge, right? And as soon as we feel overwhelmed or underwhelmed, we're going to get bored, So that's why skill-based matchmaking is a thing. So you're always going to be challenged. You're never going to feel like, oh, I can just cakewalk through this. You're always going to feel like I could get better, and that's addicting in a way. So
yeah.
Okay. No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and I will say, Overwatch lately for me has been feeling somewhat of, I would say, wider on the spectrum in terms of like the quality of games, I guess. To some degree, it sometimes feels like it's either a stomp or you're stomping. But generally speaking, I think I did end up, finding a few games where it's like, okay, this feels like it's a good one to share and kind of review potentially.
Sure. Okay.
Mainly because they were close losses or close wins or whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
and I would argue
definitely.
that and for the sake of this conversation, for this call, I'm trying to focus on DPS. I enjoy playing DPS the most. I think it is the weakest role. I am considerably better on support in my eyes. And I'm wondering if you could potentially at some point speak to why that may be, why I feel that way.
Support players are boosted, just objectively. I'm not even joking. They're boosted.
Okay.
Now, by boosted, every rank is relative to the opposite hero on the opposite rank. So in other words, support players are not compared to DPS. They're not compared to tank players. When you're a diamond support player, you're a diamond compared to other support players. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Okay.
The problem is that support players are always the least skilled players in basically every game that they're ever played.
Interesting. Okay.
Now, whether that's by design, demographic, hero category, it doesn't matter. But there is a large percentage of support players, I'd say 10 to 20% of support players, that physically do not have any mechanical capabilities and do not understand how the game works. There are more support players in that category than others. And then the role as a whole, I would say a good 75 to 80% of support players, so vast majority, don't even understand what the role is supposed to do. So there's a miscommunication about like the way the role is supposed to function that implies, I guess, healing, right? And enabling instead of enabling and proactivity, right? And so you generally I'm not even exaggerating. You don't see most support players actually doing something resembling their job until around high diamond.
Oh Jesus. Okay.
So even if you have,
I guess
like,
that's the debate between support versus healer, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if that's even more so in Overwatch 2 than it ever was before. So it's a lot better in Overwatch than it is in other games that I've played. It's like there's definitely like a better understanding of what you should be doing. But yeah, I mean, like the gap between what the role is and what the role thinks that it ought to be doing, it reminds me very much, I don't know if you remember early on in Overwatch 1 where tanks felt like they had to protect their team, right? There's that stigma of protect your team. That's still kind of around, but I think that stigma has kind of moved on fairly well.
Yeah, I would say it's washed away a little bit.
Not as much with support. Support's still a little sticky with it. Yeah, almost without exception, people are always ranked higher in support. Tank players, DPS players, always ranked higher in support. Support's my highest rank role by a lot. Yeah, it's just better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't play support enough to really, once again, I enjoy DPS more, just generally speaking. And plus, both of my duos, they main support.
Yep.
I like playing support generally, but I feel I have more influence whenever I do, even if I solo support. Yep. It's just easier.
So it's funny.
Just easier.
It's funny is this whole thing is like, because I don't think people think about how easy support players have it in terms of like their competition. I actually don't think support heroes necessarily have lower skill ceilings. I actually think their skill ceilings are equal to most of the highest, most difficult DPS. Like, I actually look at something like a Kiriko. The skill ceiling of Kiriko is as high as most DPS heroes.
Astronomical, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, same thing with you talk about Lucio. I think Brigitte has an underrated skill ceiling. You look at something like an Ana, and so on. The problem is that then go, support's easier because I'm a higher rank, I have more carry potential. That's not necessarily the case. It's just that you're competing with people that don't know how to play the Overwatch at all, right? So you're always going to be higher ranked. It doesn't necessarily mean that the role has a higher impact. In fact, I've spoken with Gavin Winter where they have what's called role delta, right? Which kind of measures the impact of roles. So for example, if you're matchmaking with a Diamond 3 to Masters 5 lobby, let's say, right? Would you rather have your Masters 5 player on DPS, support, or tank? You get what I'm saying? That's kind of the question, right?
And what are they normally?
So first off, they normally never have that problem. They always match role to role. So if you're going to have a Masters 5 player, it's going to be the same player on each role. So you'll have Master 5 supports on opposite teams or Master 5 DPS on opposite teams. You're not going to have a Masters 5 support and a Masters 5 tank going against each other because it's just too much variance, right? That being said, if you were to, the general consensus is that, especially in towards higher ranks, it actually doesn't matter. They all have about the same level of impact at the highest level of game.
Makes sense. Okay.
Now, they haven't elaborated on in the lower ranks, but it is my suspicion that I think support has almost no impact in lower ranked games because they don't know how to play. And I'm pretty sure that I would bet the farm that it's actually DPS is the highest impact in lower ranked games.
I can imagine. I mean, you think one DPS, especially Widow or somebody or a Cassidy, can just kind of
if they play
so much leverage over the lobby.
Right. If you're just a little bit better and you're taking aim in a little bit of space, it's just never going to be contested. So
just the damage output by itself is enough to kind of carry the game.
I guess my point being is whatever you want to apply yourself to, you're going to have relative like a decent amount of impact no matter what you're doing. I guess biggest thing is that treating every game like a training environment, not a tournament match. And I think that leads into your next point here in your form, which is like how to contend with nerves mid-fight. A lot of it's just exposure therapy. The more that you do it, the better you're going to get around it. But to be honest with you, if I felt like I needed to do better at self-evaluation mid-game and winning the game and trying to clutch it out depending on what the circumstance demanded, I feel a lot of pressure on myself. Yeah. That's maybe the problem.
That's kind of the bucket that I put myself in to some degree because the pre-fight as far as like the engagement timing and all that, if I don't think I have a Tracer VOD to show, but on Tracer I don't feel like I struggle with engagement timing to some degree, or at least if I do, I recognize it. But it's just it's mid fight, you know, it's whether it's the target focus or
Yeah.
it's like what kind of agency can I provide to this fight to actually turn it.
Yeah.
It's that kind of struggle that I feel like I contend with just on a daily basis.
Sure.
And of
Sure.
course I have those days where like my mechanics suck or
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know I'm not
Yeah.
warmed up or whatever.
Just sounds like too many decisions to be
It's
made at
it's
once.
it's a lot of decisions made at once. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at your pool too, right? Like Freya,
Oh, it's
Echo,
brother.
Tracer,
I've
like,
been I've played
you
this thing
know,
for
so.
so long. I enjoy playing a lot of heroes,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Well, I was saying
um,
more like those characters have a lot of choices to make too.
yes, absolutely. I will say I've been enjoying Freya a lot, and I know you've
She's
done a
good.
lot of Freya reviews. She's wonderful.
She's great. Yeah. She's a lot of fun.
Very good
She's
hero.
definitely very problematic in some aspects, but she's a interesting design, and I really enjoyed playing her. So, okay,
Yeah,
goals here.
there's a couple of changes I'd make about her too.
My big question is like, could she survive without a two tap? And I was told no, but I'm still
I don't think
convinced that
so.
there's a chance. What if she's 250? You know, what if her updraft is back at 8? You know, I don't know. All
Well,
right,
whenever they crushed Hanzo into the no more one tap range, how bad did he fall off? You
yeah,
know,
but Freya's not Hanzo is kind of my point. You know,
true.
like I agree with you that with Hanzo's kid, but yeah, okay. Short term, I like to get staying masters without feeling like I'm struggling or sweating like crazy. Well, bad news. Right? If you want to stay in Masters without feeling like you're struggling and sweating, then you're going to need to be a Masters 3, Masters 2, Masters 1 player, which is going to mean a lot more playtime and a lot more training, which you probably don't have, right?
I do not.
So, you know, you've got a couple hours a day. That's great. We can work with that. But Masters is going to be, I mean, you've seen the rank distribution recently, right? Did you see
Yeah.
like how difficult it is to reach Masters
I
now?
I did see the post. I did not. I don't recall the numbers off the top of my head.
It's
However,
tricky.
that was
Let's
a
put
couple
it
of
this
weeks
way.
ago.
It's like 3%, right? So you're talking about Grandmaster, Masters combined is like 3.4% or something crazy like that, including Champion. It's tiny. It's a little bit. It's definitely harder than it was in Overwatch 1. And the big thing is that 3% is Masters 5 to Masters 1. So the difference between Masters 5 and Masters 1 is also very significant.
That's astronomical.
Right?
Yeah.
It's big, right? So we're talking about you're literally like you're going from a top 3.5% player to like a top 0.5% player just by climbing within Masters, right? So like
Wow.
it's going to be hard.
So even if we reframe it to, I would like to touch masters, would
Yeah.
that be a bit more
I think
doable?
it's reasonable given the amount of time that you're playing. Yeah, most likely.
Okay.
If we ignore any other extenuating circumstances, yeah, sure. Short-term recognizing mistakes and making now to ensure or to enable the long-term climb. Yep. Game sense feels like 90% of what's holding you back. I think I would normally ask, what do you mean by game sense? But I think you just talked about it. You know, target priority, decisions, who should I be shooting, how should I be moving? We'll look at it in game. Mentality 10%. I feel like my mechanics are typically consistent. Okay, good to know.
I feel.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean, of
that's what
course,
this is.
but I think that's important, right? Like, I think that's a kind of a framing here. We talked a little bit about the mentality thing. I think it's not simple because you have probably this lifestyle, this lifetime of habits of I'm quote unquote winner, right? So you're gonna have to try to reframe that as I'm going to pursue excellence at what I'm doing, whether I'm winning the game or not. And you're going to have to do that with your rank at stake. That's the weird thing about Overwatch. There's no such thing as a drill. The game is the drill. So if you cannot find some sort of separation between the rank and your practice, then you're going to have a really hard time. Like you have to be willing to play ranked games like it's practice. And if you can't, you're going to improve at a lower rate.
Makes sense.
So,
And
okay.
I would say, you know, to dovetail a little bit off of that is just be cognizant of what I'm doing in ranked games, not just play ranked games as well, because that's, I think to some degree I have an issue with that myself, where I'm just kind of like I'm doing what I know what I'm doing and I'm autopiloting doing it.
Right. Exactly.
And I need to. That's where you know, maybe how do I reframe my mindset into thinking that way
Yeah. Yeah.
throughout
Sure.
games.
Sure. Okay. Last thing I'll say is obviously like you're dead, but the sleep is still tough. You know, you're busy, but if you're aiming at this high level, 6 hours of sleep is still tough. You know.
Sure.
So I'm not gonna beat you over the head with that because you've got obviously a lot of responsibilities. But I would say like if I could choose like one lifestyle change, if that could be improved by even a little bit, I would change that. So
I'm self-aware of that one.
yeah, so I won't.
That's actually somewhat by choice, even to some degree sometimes.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, let's take a look here. Shoot me the
All
code
right.
whenever you got a chance.
Let's see. So I guess since we've been talking about Freya, we can start with the Freya code,
We
right?
can. Sure, works for me.
Let's do. So help me out here. I've got one close win and one close loss. Unfortunately, once Flashpoint, once Control, and I know those game modes are usually a little bit worse to review.
I think
but I felt like
fine.
they were pretty decent.
Yeah, they're fine.
Do you prefer one over the other?
I would say whatever one is either more recent or one that you had more questions about.
Well, okay, this one, let's just do this. It's 1 Victor, 2-1 Alpha Kilo.
2-1 of Kilo.
So that one is a loss where I actually felt like I did, I would say, pretty good in.
Sure.
Generally speaking. Oh, let me make you full screen here. Pop out full screen. By the way, I use your replay settings, the controls. It's amazing.
Absolutely the best. That's my biggest contribution. I'm putting on my gravestone.
So yeah, I felt like I did very well here.
Okay.
Now,
good.
You know, I guess we'll see. But
we basically, you know that you didn't do very well, but you felt like you did very well. And I think that that's an important clarification because what it means is that it highlights to me where you felt like you performed, like what you put value in, right? So, and then it's going to also highlight to me where your blind spots are. So I actually like reviewing games where you felt like you did well because it showcases to me you as a player value this kind of performance and are not aware of or don't value enough these kind of shortcomings. You get what I'm saying?
Yes,
so, like,
absolutely.
I think it's really good to look at here. So okay,
perfect.
I assume you've seen probably a couple of Freya VODs of mine, or maybe you've seen my Freya guide or something, so you have an idea of probably what I'm looking for. Baseline, take some angles, use your updraft, use your bolt spam, and so on.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm fairly familiar with like the general Freya tech, right? The updraft right click tech where you get extra height and
that's been
minor,
nerfed a little bit
off angles.
But
I noticed.
But yeah, okay.
So yes, and I watch some pro players on YouTube and all that.
So like first things here is like I think like the immediate thing that's like standing out to me is like there's not near enough lateral space control right now. So this Orisa is able to kind of LOS. This backline's able to I mean you can look at your sightlines here and you can see exactly what's wrong right now.
Yeah.
So this kind of what this Echo's doing, I kind of want you to do that as well. Now that could mean the other side as well. You can really choose what other angle you want. But I would probably prefer right because it's got a bit more verticality. And obviously with the power of hindsight, like there's a tracer here. So, but yeah, you need to open up your angle here. Like your angle is compressed. And so this is better, but it probably could have been done sooner. This is good. This is exactly what you should be doing with Freya right here.
I'll try to provide some context. This game was yesterday.
Okay. What I'm noticing so far, and I'll kind of narrate my thoughts as I'm going through this, is that I like the angle that you took. Been a little bit lazy with some of your bolts. So there's been a lot of bolts that don't look like they're aimed particularly well. I'll highlight a few of them here really quick. So first things first is we'll start off here. That's fine. We hit the ones on the Orisa, no problem. That one's also fine as well here. That one right there is more of a prediction shot. I can live with that. That's just a missed shot. I can live with this one as well. Okay, but then this is where things get real. That is offensive, right? That's you moving your crosshair from target A to target B and firing the bolt midway through. There's no conscious thought. That's just autopilot, and it looks bad. In addition to that,
the autopilot we spoke about.
Right. That one's okay because that one was deliberate. You just missed. That one's also okay. That one's also okay. It's just bad mechanics. That one's not so okay. That one's fine.
So what I'm starting to take away here is patience.
Well, yes, it's deliberately forcing yourself to go slower than you think you need to force yourself to actually give it the attention that you need to, right? So, you get yourself on an angle and you just make yourself take a quarter of a second between each and every shot just to force yourself like that right there. Like this is offensive to me, right? Like that is not bad mechanics because we've seen a couple of moments where you put effort in and you just missed, right? I'd say most of your missed shots have been that. That's fine. You just need more practice. You'll be okay. Though these two shots right here, there's no excuse for that.
Okay.
Right? That's just a lack of intention with your shots, and you can't afford to do that with Freya, right? Like, if you look at somebody like a Hanzo, right, you probably should be intentional with every shot that you take. With Freya, it's even more important because you don't have unlimited shots. You only have so many. It's a resource that you have to spend. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
I'll go deeper than that here, too. Where's your angle here right now?
So there is no angle. Right now we're just kind of spamming main with team.
Correct. You're leaning towards right because you've already leaned towards right before, so your brain is kind of going through the motions of taking an off angle, but it is no longer an off angle. Given the information that you have right now, where's your angle here, objectively?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I probably should have peeled a little further left.
Correct. Go back, quote unquote, main. Go back left, right? So you've got most of your team here. Even if Tracer wasn't here, this rotation just takes way too long. Just go back here and start bolt spamming from here, right?
Yeah.
So what's happening is you're kind of looking around. You miss the shots again. And now we're contesting a Tracer at point blank range, which is like just uncomfortable, right? It's not great. And now you're getting compressed out of the angle, shockingly, because, Tracer's really good at doing that. And now we're on an angle, but we're still missing our bolts. That's a good shot there, but you've lost so much space, right? I'm going to do one simple thing here, is I'm going to highlight when you should have held left or rotated back left. And then once you're here, I'm just going to park the camera here and just play it. For crying out loud. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, that's
free. This Orissa's dead, this Echo's dead. Any sort of attention that you pull towards yourself, it takes pressure off of your Malga. It's very low risk because they really can't force the kill on you, whereas Tracer absolutely can. It's so free, right? So what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing that you're not making any major punishable mistakes. And that there's some crucial moments like that one right there where you should feel pretty good about, and that right there where you should be like, man, yeah, I'm actually hitting some nice shots here. True.
And that's where I guess to the conversation of being cognizant of my shots. I even just looking at it, you can tell that's like, okay, I'm thinking about what I'm going to shoot.
You're seeing the movement. You're like, okay, wait, yep. It's just there's a level of intensity that's just not consistently there. Freya is so incredibly high skill ceiling because if you are cognizant of even 90% of your shots, you're going to be oppressive. You're going to be oppressive.
And I will say, I've noticed that about my sojourn in Freya. Prior to this call.
Oh, Sojourn's the same. Sojourn's the same.
Yeah, it feels like identical. Be patient with rail. Be patient with right click. And I've noticed that about myself, and I feel like I've started working more about it. But now, of course, watching it back with you, it's like,
right.
This,
well,
it's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a scale, right? Like whenever you're working on something, it might be like, I'm a little bit better than I used to be, and that's leading to slightly better results, but there's still a long way to go, right? So it's like, I'm highlighting something as like this fight, if you had even done 20% better with your off angling, 20% better with your deliberation with each and every rail, you would have won this fight a lot sooner, right? Yeah. And so if you want to be a results-based guy to win more games, then you need to be the type of player that's cognizant of your rails more. Now, the crucial thing here is that when you're cognizant of your rails, when you're cognizant of your positioning, you're not doing so because I need to be more aware all the time, 24/7. It's so that you can train your brain to do the skill without you having to babysit it.
Yeah, it just becomes second nature, though.
Right, it becomes second nature, right? So there's a lot of things that you're doing pretty well that you don't really need to think about, right? Well, a lot of your movement stuff has been relatively decent, right? You're just kind of doing things, right? But that's whatever, But like, clearly the mechanical side of things and even the rotations aren't quite there. And it's really funny too, because I look at this here and you could tell that you're locked in. Why? Not because you missed the shot, but because you were challenged. You were challenged a little bit by the movement and the switching of targets. So even though you missed and it's like, oh, that sucks, yeah, but there's some effort there, right? That was cool. I notice that myself a lot. I hit harder shots more often than I hit easier shots. Like there's a percentage increase,
It's weird.
Yeah, it's because your brain wants challenge. When you're bored shooting a fortified Orisa, right? So it's like, anybody can hit that, and then you miss it, right? Heck, I see this from pro players sometimes, right? Oh, it's fine. As long as she doesn't have fortifier spin, it's fine.
Yeah, that's one thing I try to. I've also kind of been working on if a tank uses a resource and like, a
Yeah.
mitigation
Yeah.
resource, I just don't bother with them basically.
Yeah. I think you can absolutely ult tanks until they have a mitigation resource, like I said. Matrix, bubble, shield, Doomfist block. This stuff will ruin it. But if they don't have that, it's actually pretty decent versus a tank.
And I will say, as far as her ult, the ult usage on Freya, I've just been kind of using it like a pulse bomb to some degree sometimes. But like if it's like a ball or Doom or somebody else on the other team with movement ability, I kind of use it as a hinder if they're like deep in.
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, the thing is, it's like as long as they don't have a mitigation ability, it's good.
Yes.
If you hit the ball with the ult, it's good. If you hit the Doomfist with it and he doesn't, have block, then it's good. It's fine. Like that was a good example right there. Like that Orisa, even if she had lived that, it would have taken like Nano Boost, Juno ult, Molt. She would have had to disengage. It would have been horrendous. And that's really all you want out of an ultimate, right? Is to make things horrendous.
I got a question. How fast do you post these to YouTube?
Not fast enough. We're on Operation Avalanche right now. We're planning on doing like 2 or 3 a day until we have a backlog of over 40 right now. So,
oof, wow.
Yeah. So, yeah. Now, they're on the playlist immediately, and Spilo Coaching Compendium and Discord immediately as well, but posted it takes a little bit. So you'll have a link right away, though.
Perfect. Okay.
Want to highlight a couple of things here?
Yes.
Whiff. And then locked in, right?
Yeah.
Actually, looks like even harder shots, if anything, and yet there's no problem. I actually don't think I would rotate away from here. I mean, I would hold the angle here. Like, I wouldn't necessarily go after the Orisa, but general rule of Overwatch is try to avoid rotating away from angles unless you have to. Like
I'm trying to remember why I rotated out of there. Because I feel like the Orisa may have just been walking.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a risk. It's like, what's she going to freaking do? Like, I would give her respect. I wouldn't stay there, nice shot, but I wouldn't necessarily leave the angle itself. Because if you can hold that Orisa without taking resources, it's fine. Like, earlier when you rotated away from the Tracer, this is offensive. This is offensive. You hit 1 out of 3. When you rotated from the Tracer earlier, it was like, okay, yeah, I mean, you need to because you're under threat, but...
Yeah, it's just so blatant whenever
it really is. It really is. Not good because, Nano is a mitigation ability, so not
and this was that speculative, hinder, potentially trying to slow them down.
Yeah. You guys are, there's just so much mitigation going on at the same time. It's Nano, it's Copy, it's Juno. I honestly just don't even think I would have used it at all. So that's fine. The angle itself that you took was fine, though. And you did force those abilities by actually hitting some shots, so well done. So they just kind of dumped everything here.
I noticed I do a lot of left-click spamming.
Just looks like for the most part it's between your bolts. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, at extreme ranges, I'd say no. That was lazy as well. He dies anyway, but... This is fine. But this is when we were talking about, like, your left-click spam, right? But why are you left-click spamming? I mean, you don't
just
have a bolt
in between bolts
yet.
there,
Yeah, you don't have a bolt, and then maybe you could have bolted sooner here, but... I mean, I don't even mind if you want to left-click spam a little bit until you get 2 bolts, and then that way, when you do peek, you actually have a pick potential, right? It's okay. Like, you can use your judgment here. Like, you could put a lot of attention into when should I be left-clicking, when should I be right-clicking. You can use your judgment there, but yeah, it's no problem.
That last bolt on the Juno.
It's really good. It's really good, right?
So that one, but not that one.
Well, yes, but see, the difference is that you look at why you missed. Let's see if you can spot it. I'll 0.25 it here.
So she's on speed already. She's through speed.
Yeah, so she's on speed. You hit the shot, and then she jukes you. Do you see that she changes direction, right? So she's rushing this way, and then you lead your shot, and then she just pivots around and goes back the opposite way with speed. Okay. Right, so
that case is
fine.
Not a case of laziness.
Correct. That's totally fine. That's just okay. She just made a good movement. We can't judge it based off of results alone. We have to judge it based off the effort that you put in, and it felt like you were really sweating. Whereas that, it's like you aimed, you shot, you did it. See, even though some of those shots there, like, I don't love it, but it did feel like you were trying to hit a predict shot. Whether you should do that or not.
Absolutely was. Yeah.
Whether you should do that or not, that's another story, but it wasn't like you were just brainlessly spamming. You're like, okay, I'm going to try to... like that right there is really, really well done. So what I'm actually noticing is this is really funny. The reason why you feel so good about this game is because you are consistently toggling, like, once per fight. Consistently.
What do you mean by that?
As in, you are locked in. I'm going to aim hack, basically. for at one
okay,
point.
I see.
And then everything just goes away. And then it'll come back like 10 seconds later for like one more shot, and then it goes away again. So all you remember is, because we all have our little biases, is that, man, I was just hitting some crazy shots there. You're right. But let's not talk about what was happening between those crazy shots. And that's probably all you're remembering is like, oh yeah, I was just insane. Like, oh wow, that's a freaking good shot. Let's not lie, right? That was a nasty little flick there you got. You know, that's big stuff. That's good too, you know? That last bolt, maybe not so much. That one was clear, the brig was already out. But that one was almost good there. But see, this is kind of my problem, right? Is we look at that and we're like, oh yeah, good shot on a frogman. It's going to put him out. Good shot into the brig. You missed it, but like, okay, we're going for the shield. Going for the kill. But then this one right here, it's just like, why?
I think to some degree, I think I remember thinking here, let me just poke that choke there.
Right,
you know?
right, exactly. But for crying out loud, look at your screen.
Damage going.
Look at your screen. There's an Echo here. There's an Orisa here. You know, this this is probably going to be a little bit better value than just brainlessly spamming at a choke, right? It's not. You didn't miss intentionally, right? But you did go, oh, I'm just gonna do that's good enough, right? It's not. Nothing is good enough, right? It could always be better, right?
Right.
So,
I for some context, in the history of me playing Overwatch, I will say I now default to trying to kill supports.
It made sense there.
Player.
It made sense there because that was the easiest shot, right? The brig shield there was the easiest target to shoot, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'll say that even holistically. You know, whenever we're just struggling in a game as my team, you know, we can't break through choke or whatever. Sometimes I go int on supports.
Yeah, I mean,
and
if
I hope that I can get a kill or something, or at least get their resources out.
If you're talking about updraft and Freya, you're going to have a vantage point to where you could most of the time see a lot of targets. And so if you want to prioritize support when you're given the entire menu, that didn't be my guess, right? Yeah. Whereas now, obviously, priority really needs to be Genji, and I honestly don't even like you rotating this way. I would probably like you to tuck in here, but because you this is your angle because this is where you started. You closing your eyes and running like your son or your daughter, like 2 years old, closing your eyes. You can't see me, Daddy. No, yes, they can, right? Like this Genji can see you, so you
and I knew he was there.
So you either look at him,
hold attention,
right? And so you see the opportunity is you've given yourself a disadvantage in this duel. He doesn't go away. This is your opportunity. One bolt here, or even just forcing his deflect, and before he dashes means that you have an opportunity. And now, see, he got away with not only murder, but he got what he wanted, essentially, right? He got all those resources and got away scot-free. He did his cycle. That's on you. Good shot, good shot. It's crazy what your impact looks like. Both of the targets you stick die. Good shot, good shot.
Trying to remember when this breaks down.
Good shot. I mean, it's good stuff mechanically. Nothing fancy with your angling. Obviously, you're kind of shoved into a locker. It's not the best position for Freya, but there weren't a lot of other options.
I think we were waiting on our Malga to come back at that point.
Yeah, no, I was talking about the start of the fight, yeah. Sure.
Excuse me.
That's fine. Good stuff. This position's good. You miss a shot in Orisa. Miss another shot, miss another shot. You could tell there's just like you're just like I'm just gonna keep putting out pressure. It reminds me a lot of watching a Junkrat player. Is what it looks like. It's like I'm spamming the choke. Hit your shots, please. Like if I look at this here, right? That shot needs to hit on either the Kiriko or Orisa. You choose. Don't just throw it at the choke and hope that you get a splash, right? This shot right here, that needs to actually hit the Orisa, or that needs to hit the Kiriko, right?
And I'm wondering.
Sure.
You know, to some degree, I wonder if I'm just like trying to maximize my bolt up time. Maybe
you are.
Just trying to go as fast as possible.
You
with
are
them or something.
absolutely.
It's being detrimental to my aim.
Right, and so that's worth highlighting, right? It's like that is why you're doing this, but that's something that you need to avoid because obviously you don't have dashes forever, right?
Yeah.
So you should be wise with the resource that you have, right? Okay, so let's see.
Yeah, I think it gets kind of scuffed from here on out.
Yeah, this fight's basically already lost, but
yeah.
Okay, let's see what we do here. I would definitely. You're gonna definitely need to open up an angle. You're gonna need to be a playmaker. Yep.
I wanted that so bad.
You should get it. You should get it. You should go. Well, I might die. Yeah. But you're not doing anything here.
Yeah, that's
You,
this is where I start second guessing. I
oh
really
no,
wanted to go
I think
the,
you were. I think you were gonna do it. I think you were gonna do it. Wait.
Oh,
Huh. Okay.
all right. So we
Okay.
had a thrower. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, so there it is, right? This is the mitigation cooldown. Because actually, even if she doesn't javelin spin that, she's definitely fortified. So I would rather you gamble it here, if anything. Okay, here's another thought, okay? Where should your angle be? Here. So you're late to the party, which that's the biggest problem, right? So this, I understand you wanted to just go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do you approach this, joke?
I mean, just take that middle top ground, right?
Yeah,
Where the
do it
Kiri was
again.
earlier.
Do it again. Do it again.
Just keep spamming it.
Do it again.
I
You
would
ready for
think.
something spicy? Dash.
Oh.
Dash. Sit here. And then you can go from here. You can updraft from here. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. You don't need to do that. Your initial
That's so
suggestion...
high risk, I feel like.
It depends on the timing, right? But yeah, your initial rotation is absolutely fine. But yeah, it's worth going for because here it is. She's distracted. There's your window. If you win this duel, then you get this sightline. This sightline is broken, as opposed to whatever you did there. Okay. Now, I already know what's going to be the issue here. It's going to be bolt spam. Let's see.
I'm starting to see a pattern.
That one wasn't too bad. That wasn't awful. This is you probably reaching too far, maybe, on targets.
Yeah,
that's
it is. It's one of those things I sometimes find myself doing just to like maybe open something up.
Yeah, I get it.
It's once again the support default where I try.
Yeah,
to go
but the reason why I
forward.
don't like this one as much is because if you just looked, you could see Cass, you could see Echo right here, which is going to be it's you need to pressure the thing that's easiest for you to pressure, which happenstance right now is the DPS because they're way closer, right? If this is a scoped in Ana or a Zen or she was 5-10 meters closer, then sure. Yeah, there's just not enough pressure from you early enough, which is the biggest problem. Part of that was the intentionality with your shots, but I think most of that was your target selection there because you're trying to hit your shots here towards the end. Let's keep going here. And you did win this one, or did you lost this
No,
one?
we lost this. We lost this one. Yeah,
It's pretty important that you stay there and actually, I would get back because you look at how much worse your vantage point is, right? So
yeah, sometimes I underthink and I end up just like falling. It's one of those situations.
Yeah. I understand 100%. This is one of those moments. 0 for 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Aiming towards a clump, praying for spam, praying for a hit, but you don't really have a target in mind. It's again, like I keep pulling up analogies. We talked about Junkrat here. This reminds me of Honest with Anti-Nade. They don't anti-nade a target. They're like, oh, there's a bunch of clump. Let me just kind of throw it over there and see what happens, right? No.
Hope for the best.
Yeah, you got to be intentional. Like that right there is like that's where you're the best DPS in the game. That brief window right there is where you have more pressure than any DPS in the game, and yet that's gone. Good shot.
I do sometimes, whenever somebody's holding cover like that, I do try to go for like the splash damage on a bolt.
Yeah, that's fine. But I
like
wouldn't burn 4. I wouldn't burn 4.
Yeah.
Because think about it this way: is if you go back at this and you look at this and you go, okay, they've all ducked behind cover. What am I supposed to do about that? You tell me.
More aggressive angle.
Maybe a more aggressive angle.
Imagine.
So you take maybe a pot shot here to get them lined up, and honestly, maybe you don't even need a more aggressive angle because look at their positioning. Do you think this is good for them? This
No,
sucks.
absolutely no.
They're gonna have to do something, right? So
Excuse me.
then you have triple bolt for that, right? Or you then go look around and go, oh, this Orisa's completely by herself because her backline's all shoved into a locker. Let's just dump 3 bolts into her instead.
Yeah, and I do notice with power of hindsight that our Malgo's already through. Could have even probably started holding bridge.
Sure, but that's hindsight, right? What you can actively do every time is if you don't have a target immediately because they're all hiding, don't shoot then. Just don't shoot. Look for another target. Everything is about just being more intentional with what's on your screen, which right now could be either annihilating that Orisa or having 4 bolts right now or 3 bolts right now. You see what I'm saying?
Makes sense. Okay.
It's fine.
Hopeful spam.
Yeah, I mean, it's primary fire, so it's less of a resource. Okay. Like this angle from you here. That bolt is a little lucky. In terms
Yeah,
of,
some of them are very speculative. I will
yeah,
say.
yeah. I will say it's fine to have a speculative bolt here or there. Just be careful about the double up, right? Like that second bolt there, because that's needed now, right? For the double dash right there. It's just so much spam, you know.
This is where I don't know who to focus, because this is to what we were talking about at the beginning. Is like, I feel I wouldn't call this mid fight just yet, but you know the fight is actively starting.
So this is
this is where I'm
this
like,
is great.
What am I
you ready
shooting?
for this one? It doesn't matter. I wouldn't shoot Orisa because you have every other target at your disposal, but you need to pick somebody.
Just anybody on the screen.
Anybody,
at this point,
literally, because they're all equal in value, basically. And they're all equal in proximity. Like, these are all easier targets. You can go, oh, well, Ana's a little bit of a higher priority, but she's a little bit further away. Kiriko is a little bit harder, but she's lower. Cassie's a bigger hitbox, but he's got more HP. Echo's a smaller hitbox, but she's lower. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
This is it. They're lining up for you, right? Like, this is like as easy as it's going to get. And because your brain is kind of in, I don't know what to shoot, so I'm just going to brainlessly spam at a blue clump, or I guess in this case a red clump, right? You're just going to miss all of them.
Yep.
You're just gonna miss all of them because like, oh, well, I didn't get a. They didn't. I hit some shots there. Yeah, but nothing died. Like that's where Freya gets kills. Like that's where the sniper Freya comes out right there. We're like, oh, I kind of forced them out of the choke. Yeah, but you should have killed them. Like that. Somebody needs to die for that. It doesn't get easier than that for Freya. That's your dream scenario, and you're about to get another dream scenario right here. Miss one, you hit your second, you hit your third, but then instead of actually evaluating, hey, is there anybody else there, you just dumped everything you had into a fortified Orisa and even missed your first shot. You see it? Mm-hmm. So it's not just about the mechanics, it's also about who should I be shooting. You're sweating a lot about target priority here, but the reality is that with the exception of the Kiriko in the second point where it's just evaluate and just shoot what's available, right? You don't need to over sweat it. Like this is fine, shoot the Kiriko, yeah, absolutely. Sure. A little far, but he didn't have the he didn't know where you were, so they had the drop on him. Heck, even shooting the Echo there forces the freaking Nano Echo, but now it's forces a copy, so now the Nano's wasted. Do you shoot the Malga or do you shoot the Ana? I mean, probably the Ana, but the Malga's also an Echo, so she's gonna die real fast. So I don't mind if you shoot this. Yeah, that's fine.
I think I would normally just in these situations prioritize the copy, just generally.
Yeah. I think it's a fine choice. So I look at this here, and the result is less to do with I shot the wrong target or whatever. I actually think that you finished off this fight pretty reasonable there. Like even a nice bolt there. It's how you started the fight was poor, and before they rotated, it was also poor, right? But this is okay. This is okay. Yeah, that's fine. Fine. Just reset. And let's take an angle and let's break this choke. Thank you. I mean, that's a big deal. Look at the result. Right? She's out of position. She doesn't have a sight line. She's still low. Now, all you need to do here is not die. But they're still, by the way, they're still fixating on you. So even though you got shot, it's like all those resources are going into you. You get a free retake. One bolt is all it took. One bolt and one ultimate is all it took. That's a fine prediction. Okay, let's retake some space. I say as if I'm coaching you live. Good shot.
Well.
Sure. Your bolt, but you actually hit the Orisa. So now that actually matters. So now the Orisa has to make a choice. Oh no. Good job. Look at what you did. You see what happens when you're challenged and you actually push yourself a little bit, right? He's cooked. What is he supposed to do? He's got to go write something angry in the Blizzard forums about this character. You know what I'm saying? Like, there it is. There it is again. It's funny. It happens in streaks. You notice that?
Yeah, the ebb and flow that you were talking about earlier, where it just lock in for one fight or so, or one time per fight.
Too early in terms of because it's doing a lot, but your team isn't there to capitalize off of it. So basically, if you're not going to get a pick with this, then it's useless. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is I guess call it zoning. This is what I was talking about. Just kind of like a hinder, maybe allow for a little bit more time.
So I'm okay with that. It's not the problem is not the strategy behind it. The problem is the timing because nobody can capitalize off of the zoning that you're doing right now.
Makes sense. Okay.
If you did this exact same play and...
What about now? Maybe?
Now it would matter, right? Now, because they've actually committed to something, right? It's not terrible, right? You did, again, hit them, I guess, but now this is like the moment of truth here. You must hit a bolt here. You must. And there it is. It's gone.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean the game's over. You needed to have that high ground. You needed to have that bola, but take your space. Take your space. Take your angle, wherever that it may be. Looks like you kind of got an awkward point without your updraft. Maybe important to hold your updraft here so you can get here sooner. Good shot. Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's fine.
I was just pushing her out.
Yeah, but you only, that's all you could see. So, yes. And then immediately, okay, she's out. Needed to hit that shot. That's okay. It didn't feel like you, oh, no.
Yeah, see, this is the I sometimes get
like
out of my head.
We desperately needed you on this face, you know? Because look at your sight line now. I actually think from here, like, you're actually kind of putting some deliberation into your shots. That's fine. That's so unfortunate. It's just the rotation. It's just the rotation. You actually did a good job mechanically here. You really tried. It just wasn't quite enough. Okay.
Yeah, I think that was game saving mode at that point.
Yeah. But see, that's exactly my problem. You go game saving mode because you just didn't do the basic fundamentals, right?
Yep.
You don't need to be the hero. You just need to do your job. You just need to practice what you're supposed to practice. We've got a few more minutes here. If you want to take a quick look at another hero, we can maybe look at a couple of fights.
Well, I mean, I have
or even more Freya, whatever you like.
We can do a Widow VOD if you want. Where it's actually probably arguably similar concepts. Where I feel like I'm doing a lot. We end up losing. However, it's a pretty long VOD, I will say.
Yeah, we'd only be able to look at a few fights, but we don't need to find the narrative. We just give you a point or two to work on.
Let me think here. One second. Let me look at this Blizzard World one, because there was one more where, what does this note say? Yeah, you know what? I like Widow. Let's just do that one real quick.
Sure.
It's 9 Zebra Echo 08 Bravo.
So, before we jump in with Widow here, give me 2 or 3 things to work on for Freya. Specifically, you go into a game, you're supposed to practice what?
Excuse me. Intentionality with right click.
Right.
It's just hard focus on and being intentional with every single shot, not just some of the shots.
Right. And you notice that we're not even talking about like a specific mechanical habit with you. It's just be more intentional. Like you're going to hit more shots, you're going to train better. Yes, exactly.
Yep. I would say holding space longer. It feels like it's something that I possibly don't do. Or taking an angle and just holding it, generally speaking, because like on that first point,
first one was pretty bad.
Yeah, holding that angle on the right, I possibly overstayed there because the team peeled, but then taking that left side, or quote unquote main, and just holding that, that could have opened up the fight. Way easier.
Agreed. Just angling in general. I don't think it's a weak point for you, but it's always something you can be doing better, and especially mid-fight, a little bit messy. I think it's mostly it. I think in terms of target party,
usage.
Yeah,
ult
sure.
Usage.
Sure. Just
but I just
don't use it on
it.
mitigation. Just don't use it on a mitigation on tank. That's it.
Yeah.
You can use it for zoning. I don't care. Just don't do it on a tank that has a mitigation ability. In terms of the target party, maybe more to what not to worry about. I think you're fine. I think if you're more intentional with your shots, the only thing I would say is that like you don't have to like like the moments when you were worried about your target party, you just start spamming shots without really any intention. It doesn't matter. Like even there, you saw it at the end. Like you're on the floor, you're stuck in a choke, you're just spamming shots into a fortified Orisa. It's like actually okay damage. It's not terrible, right? Now as soon as you can find a sight line to shoot something else, do so. But yeah.
Okay. I will say, so that, I don't get roasted in comments. The first couple of shots here, I don't want it to be like
tell you what.
ego VOD.
I see how it is. I was gonna skip to be nice, but no, it's an ego VOD here. Okay.
No. It gets rougher on the second point.
Oh, you should have died there. 100%. You should have died. Okay, that's a good shot.
Yeah, this is actually one of those other games where I felt like I was doing very well, and we lost.
Okay.
We lost. I mean,
So-
it went into overtime.
There
Go
is a really, just because we're pressed for time here, there's a really important thing with Widow, and maybe this is just something that I want you to kind of explore, is the balance between the element of surprise versus the element of space control. So this is what I like to call first shot advantage. You right now have a very compressed, crappy angle. You see this right here? You're not controlling a very long sight line. The best sight line for you to control would be something along these lines here, or even just opening up your angle here, or providing more of a crossfire, or something like this here. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I highlight that is I don't think this is a mistake. It's just this is the entire nuance of Widow. Because the reason that you're compressing your angle here is because you don't want to be predictable. You want to be maybe you're peaking a weird angle. Maybe it's not even a good angle, but it's for that burst for the one shot. You see what I'm saying?
I love doing that. I'm not gonna
So
lie.
what I'm saying here
weird.
is you have to evaluate right now what's more valuable, what's more important, that unpredictability or the better space control. Because you can hold an angle and hit nothing but body shots like yours truly, but you can still control a lot of space, right? Look at their comp, right? Like what's going to contest you, right? Whereas something like this, not only do you not get a good sightline for it, but you're also, when you're finished, you're not controlling any space. So if I were to prefer a grapple, I would prefer a grapple here, where I can go for a grapple that's more comfortable, and then I can control the sightline. Or maybe even grapple somewhere here, where I can go for a grapple shot, and then control the sightline here. So basically, what I'm asking you to do is either you're going to be unpredictable with your peak, which you're kind of doing right now. I don't mind this, or to control a sightline. Which one is more valuable right now? And right now, I think being unpredictable makes a lot more sense, just given the fact that they're way back in spawn. But soon here, like right now, you don't have any unpredictability right now, and you need to stop playing hide and seek. Look at your sightlines. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is terrible. So where would you go? This is your shot, literally. Now where's the most space that you can control?
I mean, realistically, stay on the stairs right there to the left.
Probably stay in the stairs, right? Throw your Venom Mine here. Okay, do I want to take a pot shot at this Reaper? Okay, do I want to take a pot shot at the Sigma Shield? They know I'm here. It doesn't matter. I'm still a threat, right? Okay, or maybe I swing wide here, right? If I can do so. But like, this is kind of what I want to see from you. It's like finding that balance. Like right now, this is just terrible. Like we're playing... This is like freaking.
Yeah, this is just wait
we're
and see
playing,
what happens.
Right. But if you're gonna check this angle here, why not check this angle here? Where okay, there's nobody there. Now I have something here. I can do it in the same. You're not controlling any space whatsoever.
Yeah, and in context, I think I remember this because
you just
Zen
freaking shot your brig because you couldn't see anything. You couldn't see anything, right? You know, you couldn't see anything. Now the real important question is, would you have headshot your brig? And the answer
I don't know.
is...
Let's see. Probably not.
Oh, yes, you would have. I think you would have. So that's a great shot on your brig there. That's the best shot.
I think I was expecting that Genji to come down the
Yes, but
stairs.
why are you playing the Genji at this range when you could control more space here and have the element of surprise, right? You get... See, the thing is you have your cake and you can eat it too. You have the element of surprise and you control space at the same time. You get what I'm saying? See, now you're predictable, but you're at least controlling space. You're forcing resources, and this is fine, right?
I was just terrified.
If you want to be
Genji the whole
cute,
time.
yeah, but if you want to be cute, now you would drop. Now you would crouch walk. Now you would come out here, pray that the Reaper's not here, and then peek out the angle here, right? Is it risky? Yeah, but you have the element of surprise.
This was all full blown. Oh, I messed up. We don't talk about
it. It happens.
I feel I was just in defense mode for the whole second half of that first point.
Because you know why? You want to know why? This is why. Right here. Because this is your golden years. These are your golden years right here, right? They're crossing the bridge. They're in the open. You've got this entire back half of jungle. Where the frick are you controlling space? What are you doing? Just shoving yourself into a locker here. You don't see anything. Look at where you are. Yeah. Look, like I'm gonna literally just park my camera here.
Merry Christmas. Absolutely.
You know very Merry Christmas, right? This is where you don't need subtlety, right? You just are oppressive from here, right? So this is kind of like that. That's gonna be what I would say your goal with Widow here is find that balance between maybe the element of surprise, get the gank, get the 1v1, get the quick kill. Maybe I should just control an open sideline. When and where should I do one or the other? Now, crucially here, and I think this is really where the nuance of the Widowmaker gets to be crazy, is this open sightline, control the most space that you possibly can, loses a little bit of value when they mirror you on Widow.
By the way, you're not streaming anymore.
Yeah, it's fine. So we're just kind of talking through. So, but when they mirror you on Widow, you get what I'm saying? Because now it's like, well, you both can control the same sightline. So it really comes, can I outsmart the Widow? Okay, great. Now I can just sit here and challenge you guys and shoot tank. You get what I'm saying? So I think right now you're trying to brain game the Genji, but the irony is that you're trying to brain game the Genji at 15 meters. Right? Like even your first shot, right? The one that you got on the Genji was pretty darn close, right? Play your space. Be unpredictable. That's good. But do so with a little bit more of open space where you can control some sightlines, and when you get dove, you don't instantly die. That's my feedback.
Got it. Okay.
Fine.
I appreciate it.
Yep. Widow's actually a very thinking-heavy character. A lot of micro decisions. So you need to really, really execute on those things.
Yeah, and I know to some degree, and I would say I used to main Widow. I don't anymore. It's just I really enjoy playing her. But I will say playing her makes me forget about the rest of the game or how the game should be played to some degree. I feel like because she is so she's high risk, high reward potentially. Yeah. But you don't really need a lot from her, If you hit your shot, you're doing good. If you're not, you're not to some degree.
True. But I guess that's kind of what I wanted to highlight there is exactly what I'm saying, where it's like that's how you're thinking about it, maybe and that's how you're playing it, but you got to go one step further if you're serious about that character, right? It's like the initial unpredictability of the shot. Okay, then now can I control some space? Can I control some sideline? Can I threaten an open space?
Something
right?
cognizant to be of, at least. Just
exactly.
After the shot, figure out what I'm doing next effectively. Not
the
just
balance of,
let's go for another shot, man.
Right. The element of surprise versus the element of space control. That's actually a really important thing, even in like professional level Widowmaker play. So okay,
and I will say I prioritize just the element of surprise generally. I think, unless there's another Widow, of course, or something.
Yep, absolutely. Okay.
Wonderful.
Any questions?
Not that I can think of off the top of my